Good afternoon. Good afternoon and welcome to our inaugural luncheon. I want to thank the sponsors of today's lunch, J.P. Morgan Chase & Company and Philips. Can we please give them a big, big round of applause? We thank our sponsors. We greatly appreciate their help and their support. Making these partnerships work is an important component of what the U.S. Conference of Mayors is all about, and we deeply appreciate their commitment to this great organization. Now I'd like to welcome back our very, very good friend, Zia Eftekhar. Mr. Eftekhar currently serves as president of Philips Lighting North America. He's a highly respected veteran of the industry, 40 years in the lighting industry. By introducing new business services, such as the Energy Services Group, he has kept the company at the forefront of professional lighting solutions. Zia has been very active within the U.S. Conference of Mayors, speaking to the issues of job creation and energy efficiency. I served on a panel with him out in Oklahoma City. We appreciate, Zia, the strong support that you have given to the U.S. Conference of Mayors, and I look forward to continuing our strong working relationship and partnership. Please welcome back to the podium Zia Eftekhar.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much, Mayor Nader. It is absolutely an honor to be here with this distinguished panel, and we are pleased to again be a part of this conference. At Philips, we strongly believe in the power of the partnership between public and private sectors. And firsthand, we've seen the results that that collaboration can bring to our cities in terms of solutions in lighting and both creation of jobs as well as saving money. As a leading company in energy efficiency and lighting technology, Philips has partners with many cities. We have lighted your streets, we have lighted your offices, we've lighted your buildings. We've been very heavily involved in highlighting and showcasing iconic buildings and bridges. Just to name a few, Philadelphia's Ben Franklin Bridge, Corpus Christi's Harbor Bridge, and currently we are involved in relighting the Empire State Building, probably the most iconic building anywhere in the world. Our private and public collaboration and partnership also extends to pushing the technology envelope as well. 2 years ago at this annual meeting, I previewed a light bulb with you that Philips had invented in responding to the challenge that the Department of Energy put forth in coming with an energy-efficient lighting that would absolutely push the limits of the technology at that time. I am pleased to tell you that Philips LED light bulb won the DOE's L Prize challenge and is now commercially available throughout the stores in our nation. It uses 80% less electricity, produces more high-quality light, lasts over 20 years, and it is absolutely an equivalent to what was wasting 80% of the energy in doing so. And we would very much like you, as consumers and users of that type of technology, be the judge of how well it performs. I know some of you saw that table and you've taken a sample of that. Please, if you have not done so, take one and tell us what you feel after you use it. And more importantly, what I would like to ask you is to have an opportunity to come and do an audit of your city and take a look at an assessment of what your energy needs are and how we could collaborate with you in making sure that you achieve your objectives with respect to energy efficiency and sustainability. There is a card on your tables, and please fill those cards and return it to us, and we will absolutely make the arrangement to do so. Also, 2 years ago in Oklahoma City, I had the privilege of serving on a panel with Mayor Nader discussing the issues that are important to our nation in energy efficiency and energy saving. I have become an absolute fan of Mayor Nader and in his drive to make Philadelphia the greenest city in the United States. The video you are about to see highlights and underscores some of the values and the drives that Mayor has beyond just energy efficiency, and we completely share your goals, Mayor. I'm really honored to stand here today and on behalf of Philips and my 55,000 US-based teammates, congratulate you in your new role as the president of this conference. And more importantly, to tell you that we are completely committed to work very closely with the Conference of Mayors and with all of you as the executives of our cities where we live and work to make sure that we are a collaborative partner with you, making sure you achieve your objectives. I'm also very happy to tell you that hopefully Mr. Mayor Nader will give us a little bit more of that singing as we go through our different conferences. You are a great candidate for American Idol, Mayor. So it's an honor to be here today at your inaugural meeting.
Meet Mayor Michael Nutter. He shares Phillips' goals of making cities greener, healthier, safer, more vibrant, and livable for residents. Phillips worked to upgrade the lighting of Philadelphia's iconic Love statue. This, coupled with lighting Philadelphia's Avenue of the Arts and enhancing the Ben Franklin Bridge with LED lights, helped promote city livability, drawing commerce to city neighborhoods and improving safety. On Mayor Nutter's watch, Philadelphia became a recognized leader for promoting age-friendly programs.
We need to make sure that within city government, we're identifying issues of challenge and concern to our aging population, that we're getting the most that we can service-wise for them, and also benefiting from them.
Now, he's teamed up with fellow mayors to help address other important issues.
Can we rebuild America's roads in this economy?
We're the Mod Squad of politics, and we know how to make things happen.
Congratulations, Mayor Nutter. We look forward to continuing to work with you to make things happen.
Okay, we have to make sure that that old video goes away. About the Mod Squad part, anyway. I don't know what possessed me to say that day. Zia, thank you again very, very much for your leadership, for your commitment, and I look forward to not only working with you, but strengthening this great partnership between Phillips and the U.S. Conference of Mayors. Again, please give Zia a big round of applause. Now, let me also introduce our sponsor, Peter Villegas, Managing Director of J.P. Morgan Chase. Mr. Villegas is Vice President and Senior Manager in the Office of Corporate Responsibility for J.P. Morgan Chase. In his position, he manages advocacy relations, government relations, and strategic alliances for the firm nationwide. I just gave him a promotion. He's recognized as a regional and national industry leader. He has 23 years of experience in the financial industry. Mr. Villegas began his banking career as a teller, working his way up through various roles in the financial industry, and has spent the last 15 years in key management positions. Peter is a member of the U.S. Conference of Mayors Business Council Steering Committee. The Conferences of Mayors deeply appreciates J.P. Morgan Chase's strong support. Please welcome Peter Villegas.
Good afternoon and welcome. Let me begin to say how delighted I am to be here. This is the second year of our partnership with the U.S. Conference of Mayors, and on behalf of my colleagues, we want to congratulate you for putting on a tremendous conference. I also want to congratulate Mayor Nutter, Mayor Smith, and Mayor Johnson for your new leadership roles. We look forward to working closely with you over the coming years. We have developed a strong working relationship with the U.S. Conference of Mayors over the recent years, and we fully embrace the power and the importance of this partnership. For J.P. Morgan Chase, our success is linked to the success of the U.S. economy and the U.S. economy is linked to the success of our U.S. cities. Anything we do to invest and support our U.S. cities and metropolitan areas is a long-term investment in our own future. Let me highlight just 2 ways we are doing that. First, this year, J.P. Morgan Chase launched the Global Cities Initiative, a 5-year joint project with the Brookings Institution to help our cities better compete in a global economy. Through this initiative, we are equipping our leaders of cities and metropolitan regions with new tools to strengthen their economies by expanding their global reach. First, we are helping local or regional leaders better understand their position in the global economy by providing them with new data and research in the areas of exports, advanced manufacturing, foreign direct investment, freight flows, and skilled immigration. Second, we are bringing together local and regional leaders to come up with tangible ideas and share best practices for taking advantage of a growing global economy. In the first 6 months of this 5-year initiative, we have held global cities forums in Los Angeles, San Diego, Columbus, Ohio, and later next week in Miami, Florida. Third, we are developing a global network of city leaders to create new opportunities for trade and investment. Over the course of the next 5 years, we hope this initiative will further advance global engagement, trade, and investment as critical economic development priorities in our cities and our regions. And our executive director of this initiative has spent the whole conference here, Brian Finch, to interact with mayors to talk about the importance of their cities and talked about the importance of this initiative. The other initiative I want to highlight is J.P. Morgan Chase's leadership in supporting our country's hometown heroes, our military service member and veterans. We recognize the tremendous sacrifices our military members and their families have made for our nation. And when they come back home, we want to be there for them by providing support around jobs, home ownership, and education. We have launched the 100,000 Jobs mission with 10 other major employees with the goal to collectively hire over 100,000 veterans by the year 2020. Since its launch in March of 2011, the coalition has grown to over 52 companies, and collectively we have hired over 12,179 veterans to date. In addition, we have provided nearly 200 mortgage-free homes to our nonprofit partners, Military Warrior Support Foundation, Building Homes for Heroes, and Operation Homefront to awarded veterans. This part of our commitment to award over 1,000 mortgage-free homes through 2016 to deserving veterans and their families. And through our partnership with Syracuse University's School of Information Studies, we're helping to create the Institute for Veterans and Military Families. A key program within that institute is the Entrepreneurship Boot Camp for Veterans with Disabilities, which is groundbreaking and nationally recognized. Founded at Syracuse University's Whitman School of Management in 2007, and now partners with 7 universities throughout the country, including Florida State University in Tallahassee, Florida. In closing, on behalf of J.P. Morgan Chase, my colleagues, and our 230,000 employees nationwide, worldwide rather, I'd like to say thank you for the partnership. We will continue to work with you in your respective cities. We look forward to seeing many of you at the upcoming conventions and the Democratic National Convention, at which we will be the exclusive sponsor of the U.S. Conference of Mayors Luncheon, and at the Republican Convention at which we will host a luncheon for the veterans and invite all of the mayors to join us. Lastly, I want to thank especially Mayor Buddy Dyer for doing a tremendous job of hosting this convention. We all came here to do some work, but Mayor Dyer, you made it fun to do some work. So thank you very much, and congratulations. Thank you.
Peter, thank you very, very much. And let us once again recognize and thank and express our appreciation to both of our sponsors, Phillips and J.P. Morgan Chase. Zia and Peter, thank you. We have some very exciting news. All righty. As some of you will remember, in 2006, a mayor named Oscar Goodman hosted a fantastic annual meeting in Las Vegas. I think some of you may still have the bobbleheads from each evening event back at that time. Well, there's a new Mayor Goodman, and she has expressed her strong desire to host us again, and that our annual meetings are booked through 2015. The City of Chicago has agreed to swap dates. So, here to tell us about the great city of Las Vegas and our 2013 annual meeting is Mayor Carolyn Goodman.
Hi, everybody. We are excited about this. Our lovely showgirls from Las Vegas, they are indigenous to Las Vegas. And in celebration of this inaugural event of our new president, Mayor Nutter, President, how about a kiss on the cheek from each of our showgirls? Oh, come on. Okay, a blow. Boy, oh boy, Oscar never would have turned that down, believe me. Oh, look, I know somebody else is hiding. And all right, Mayor Smith. Get that. Great, thank you. Good sports. I will tell you, we are so excited. I know the GSA recommended you come to Vegas. And we are delighted to host you once again. And we thank you. We first congratulate you, Mayor Nutter, on this presidency. We thank you, Mayor Dyer, for this wonderful, wonderful activity that we've had. I'm sorry, it was our 50th wedding anniversary, and we went fishing in Alaska when I got the phone call from my esteemed, dear, wonderful friend who said, come on down to Orlando soon. And so flipped from one plane to another. But what an honor to be here, and what exciting news for us in Las Vegas. We are so thrilled to look forward to hosting you again. 2006, you were out before. Could I see a show of hands of those who have not been, who had never attended that 2006? Did not. Oh, are you in for a good time? But I will tell you, we are a top, first and foremost, top convention place, top tourism place, Yes, Mayor, I know you have 55 million visitors this year. We are going to be our top year. It's going to be 40 million. We are coming back. We are a great place for meetings, but we're also a great place to have a great time. And our city has been a leader now in a renaissance. We suffer the same malaises that each of you do in your cities, and we know the pain of the jobs. We know the pains for the unions. We know what the problems are in education. We certainly know and deal constantly with the homeless issues, with the problems for the veterans as they're coming home. All of the same issues that you are feeling and dealing with on a daily basis, so are we. When I ran for election, Oscar, for those of you who are new and in your new term, Oscar, my husband of these 50 years, which was a miracle because my parents said, don't marry him. Fact, they said it would never work. What did they know? Anyway, when he was term limited, there was a vote in the House, should I run or should I not run? And our 4 children had originally said to him, absolutely not. You have more baggage than the sky caps at the airport. You cannot run for office. But, of course, he listens to no one and hardly to me. But when I said, should I run, because I'm not a politician by nature, I'm into education, they said, Mom, you have to. So much has been started. There's so much excitement going on in Las Vegas. And I will tell you, because you have behind me these glorious ladies, no wonder my husband was the happiest mayor in the universe. And I promise you, ladies, I have heard from so many gentlemen here who are your colleagues, friends, and if their spouses here, are you bringing the Chippendales? And I said, they're not native Las Vegas, but if the Women's Coalition meets, I promise you, ladies, no men. I promise you, ladies, I will do my utmost to get you the Chippendales. You can count on that. So I want to tell you, I want to tell you just a few things, and it's not my inauguration, so I won't take long, I promise you. Las Vegas, the Strip, is literally 10 minutes from the airport. There's big talk about moving it closer to California. We don't want to do that. 10 minutes from your cab to be on the Strip. And where we are booking you for this coming 2013 convention is into Mandalay and the hotel. They are exactly 10 minutes from the airport, which is wonderful. We have the best bargains in room prices, which I shared with Mr. Cochran. He said, oh my, those are good prices you're getting for us. We do have the best close by convention and meeting facilities. And this year, our tourism has gotten to the point that if we continue on the roll that we're on, we will surpass our best year ever, which was in 2007, with 40 million tourists coming into town. We are an athlete's paradise, but granted, yes, Governor Christie, I hear you. It's hot in Las Vegas. We are totally air-conditioned, but we have the best golf courses. And what we'd like to show you when you come and you work all day, are you listening, GSA? They work all day. Nighttime, I notice at 6 o'clock at night you're free. Now, whether you want to tour Nellis Air Force Base or go out to Lake Mead or go to Hoover Dam or just hang around the hotel, we have some new exciting things. We have a $480 million new performing arts center. And I have already blocked seats for the show that will be in then. We have a brand new city hall. Can't wait to show it to you. We save over $400,000 a year in our energy saving by our solar trees, which are out front. It is a magnificent building. The entire city of Las Vegas, thank you, my dear gentleman from Phillips, when we were at our last conference back in Baltimore a year or two ago and you presented, we went back to the city, Public Works, and said, we need LED lighting. The entire city of Las Vegas, the entire confines of the entire area is already on LED lighting and saving us hundreds of thousands of dollars. Inspired. We have more 5-star restaurants than you can shake a fist at in a small, small area. And men, ladies, hold on to your wallets. Our shopping is unequaled. But we also have a brand new restaurant. You know, my husband was a very modest, shy, self-effacing man. I don't know how many of you were in the old City Hall. There was not an inch of space or a place on the wall didn't have a picture of him, or a cartoon, or a picture of him with one of you, always smiling. He had a throne brought in for his desk, so he would be revered at that. When I was sworn in July 7th, and we had the first meeting, I said, nothing's coming home, no throne, get rid of all that stuff, the horse head, the dead rat, and then all those little cartoons. Well, there's a restaurant downtown in the center of the city at the plaza, excuse me, called Oscars. What else? And so all of his memorabilia in there. And if any of you love him as I do, you can reinvent him with yourself and watch all of his past come alive again. We do have tours for you. We have, of course, a mob museum now, which has a piece of history of Las Vegas. We have an iconic art form, the Neon, which is opening over the summer, the Neon Museum. We have an expanded children's interactive discovery museum that's grown to 3 times the space it originally housed, which is hooked adjacent and attached to this new performing arts center. And we have a wonderful arts district. We have interests from all over the world looking to invest in the city because the renaissance that we've been enjoying is not only coming from in the country, but as well from our international tourists. And the excitement of our new international airport terminal, which just opened, is bringing in flights from around the world, direct flights on a regular day. So if you want to be in Paris and fly next year, June 21st to June 25th, you can come direct from Dusseldorf, you can come from Panama City, you can come from England, you can come from almost around the world. And I must tell you, the thing that we see, which I know you all are involved in, it's not only to deal with the problems that all of the resolutions address, it's to find out what the problems are, take the action to fix them, but then be foresighted enough to prevent them in the future. And so we want you to come to Las Vegas. We want you to enjoy everything. We welcome you, and I can assure you you're going to be hearing lots from Las Vegas. And on behalf of these lovely ladies, Oscars City Council members, we welcome you. We are so delighted to be doing this. It was the first thing when I took office. I said, I want to bring back the U.S. Conference of Mayors to Las Vegas, and I begged for 2015. And lo and behold, you're coming to us. So thank you all. This has been a wonderful conference, even though I only got to be part of it. But I certainly wish you had continued, but you're on to something else. I know it, dear Mayor. And again, congratulations, and thank you very much. Thank you.
I learned that from Doug Palmer. Let's give another big, big round of applause for Mayor Carolyn Goodman. That will certainly be a great meeting out there. Let me introduce someone that I've known for over 20 years, a very, very dear friend, an excellent corporate partner, David L. Cohen, the Executive Vice President of Comcast Corporation. David is certainly no stranger to USCM, as he served as the Chief of Staff to former Mayor Ed Rendell in Philadelphia, and Mayor Rendell at that time was certainly active in the conference. David helps to lead one of the world's leading media, entertainment, and communications companies, which just happens to be headquartered in the city of brotherly love and sisterly affection, the city of Philadelphia. Comcast provides video, high-speed internet, and voice services to residential and business customers in 39 states and Washington, D.C. In fact, it is the nation's largest cable, video, and residential broadband provider. In addition, Comcast is the majority owner and manager of NBC Universal, which owns and operates entertainment and news cable networks. The NBC and Telemundo broadcast networks, local television station groups, television production operations, the Golf Channel, which is headquartered right here in Orlando, Universal Studios, the Universal Studios Hollywood theme park, and of course, Universal Orlando Resorts, which we've enjoyed the last several days. I know David is very proud of Comcast investment initiatives, and rightly so. Since 2001, Comcast has contributed over $72 million in cash and in-kind support for Philadelphia nonprofits and over $2.5 billion nationally. Among the highlights of the company's efforts are Comcast Cares Day. Each year, hundreds of employees and their families volunteer at sites all across the country to give back to the community. And last year, Comcast introduced Internet Essentials, the company's effort to close the digital divide by offering discounted broadband service, a low-cost computer, and digital literacy training to low-income families with school-aged children. I know David will talk a little more about this important effort, but I would certainly be remiss if I did not publicly thank David L. Cohen and Brian Roberts and the entire Comcast family for their commitment to closing the digital divide. I've seen the effects of this program firsthand in Philadelphia, and I applaud him and Comcast for their efforts to help our communities. Please join me in welcoming David L. Cohen.
So thanks very much, Michael. Good afternoon, everyone. Mayor Goodman, as I saw that scene play out here, I saw two things. First, the role of an excellent vice president, sort of stepping in, taking the bullet for the president. It was just marvelous. But the second thing I saw in my good friend Michael Nutter is somebody who either thinks or wants to have a future not only in politics but at home. So well played all around. As a proud Philadelphian, it's a very special honor to be introduced by the mayor of our city, especially today when Mayor Nutter is being inaugurated as president of the U.S. Conference of Mayors, and especially when that mayor is a 25-year dear friend, someone with whom I've shared some great victories and some not so great losses, someone with whom I've shared some difficult times of crisis, but some exhilarating times of victory as well. And I know I speak for 1.5 million Philadelphians when I say that we're delighted that he's been selected as conference president for reasons not entirely selfish. We see this as a chance for our mayor to hold national office without leaving Philadelphia. It's a perfect combination. And I also can't help but reflect as I stand up here, and it's perfect positioning really between Mayor Villaraigosa, Mayor Nutter, Mayor Dyer, who represent probably the three most substantial cities in Comcast, the three cities where we have the most employment presence. Mayor Dyer, I want to echo the thanks, and if I can, I want to add thanks not only to you, but to your staff, to the people who put this together. I'd like to add in the folks at Universal Orlando, and I'd like to add in the people of Orlando for making this conference so special. So one more hand for the entire team. And the elegance of this passing of the baton from West Coast to East Coast, two mayors who share a passion for doing the right thing around urban public policy, a passion for education. They both have a passion for baseball, a little bit different team loyalties there. And I think I've got a lot of guts coming up here and talking about this after the Dodgers embarrassed the Phillies last week by sweeping 4 games. But it's a long season, Mayor. We'll be back. Both your outgoing and ingoing conference presidents represent the tradition here of strong, resourceful leadership, and I think that tradition extends to Mayor Scott Smith of Mesa, who's stepping into the on-deck circle, and special personal note, really, to your tireless CEO and Executive Director, Tom Cochran, someone who I've had the privilege to work with on urban public policy issues for a very long time. So, Tom, thank you for your service as well. I'd also like to offer a generic personal gratitude for the unique contributions that each one of you makes as the mayor of your city and as national leaders in the important urban public policy debate. As Michael said, I've had a little experience with mayoral politics and city government. I know that local government is where the government really hits the road, and I understand the demands that you face every day as mayor. I think William Buckley was thinking of those demands years ago when he was a high-profile third-party candidate for mayor of New York. During the campaign, a reporter asked him what was the first thing he'd do if he was elected. I don't know if you remember this story. And Buckley replied, demand a recount. Running for mayor, of course, is a lot easier, and it's much more fun when you don't have to worry about winning, which, of course, was Mr. Buckley's position. But serving as mayor is one of the most compelling and important jobs in the country. And I think there's no tougher job in America, especially against the headwinds of a tough economy. And I don't think any job in politics comes with your level of accountability. The public looks to you for answers on the issues that affect their daily lives: clean streets, safe streets, schools, jobs, traffic, noise. There are some reasonably sophisticated people in all of your cities who would have a hard time naming all of the members of the city council. Probably some pretty sophisticated people in the city who couldn't name any member of your city council. And they might be pretty hazy on whose state senate district they live in, but they all know you. And they all look to you for answers because you're the mayor. And that's the exhilaration of serving as mayor, but it's the burden of serving as mayor as well. And I learned those realities during 5.5 years serving the people of Philadelphia as chief of staff for Ed Rendell, and I learned a lot in that job. But one of the most important lessons that I learned was the importance of public-private partnerships, especially between city government and business. Ed was fond of saying that city government can no longer be the employer of last resort, the landlord of last resort, the tenant of last resort, can't even be the social provider of last resort. You need to work together with every constituency in the city to advance the interests that you have articulated as the CEOs of your city. And I know personally that your incoming conference president understands this very well. He was elected mayor of Philadelphia in November of 2007. And sometimes, unfortunately, timing is everything. Just before the national economy tanked, Mayor Nutter had a chance to celebrate his election victory. As one local newspaper put it, his challenge like this went from managing a city to managing a crisis. But he managed his way through that crisis with some hard decisions, tough, targeted budget cuts, the kind that are accompanied by basically everyone being angry at you, which tells you that you know you're doing the right thing, unfortunately. But he tried to structure those cuts surgically and strategically, and he tried to articulate a vision that everybody had to share in the recovery. He called it shared sacrifice, and he desperately attempted to preserve core services, especially services for the most vulnerable Philadelphians. And to his everlasting credit, Mayor Nutter never let the city's fiscal crisis put his priorities for Philadelphia on hold. He came to office with the vision of making Philadelphia a safer, smarter, and greener city with expanded economic activity and jobs, with a government committed to transparency and ethics, and the city's been making progress on every one of those objectives over the term of Mayor Nutter's service as mayor. And a lot of that progress has been achieved through productive partnerships with the business community. Comcast has been proud to share and to be a part of those partnerships with Mayor Nutter, but really across our entire footprint in the country. And I'm just going to talk about one of those, which Mayor Nutter has previewed. It's a company passion and it's a personal passion. It's a partnership that we're trying to engage mayors, school districts, local community-based organizations in all across our footprint. And that is to keep low-income families from being stranded on the wrong side of the digital divide. Nothing in the history of technology in our lifetimes has had the potential to level the playing field like the internet does, especially in terms of access to education, access to health care, access to employment, and access to news, information, and entertainment. But there's a cruel irony at work here. Here you have this incredible technology with this potential to equalize opportunity and eradicate disparities. And the irony is that because of something called the broadband adoption gap, the internet's not leveling the playing field, it's exacerbating differences. And what's the broadband adoption gap? It's this cruel little secret that in higher income communities in America, in cities but mostly outside of cities, communities that are mostly populated by white people, broadband adoption rates are at 75%, 80%, 85%. And in communities, mostly in your cities, lower income communities, and let's face it, lower income communities populated disproportionately by people of color, the broadband adoption rate is 10%, 15%, and 20%. It's why some people have called broadband adoption the civil rights issue of the 21st century. The United States, even in the depths of this recession, we remain the richest country in the world. We remain the most technologically advanced country in the world. We remain the most powerful country in the world. And I submit to you that the richest, most technologically advanced, most powerful country in the world cannot and should not tolerate the discriminatory impact of that broadband adoption gap. It's intolerable to us as a company. It's why we've stepped up with Internet Essentials to provide low-cost broadband, low-cost computer equipment, and digital literacy training to every family in our footprint who has a child eligible for a free or reduced-priced lunch under the National School Lunch Program. And we've had great support from Mayor Nutter and other mayors across the country. And I think that the progress that we are beginning to make is showing results. We are beginning to move the needle, and we're in this for the long haul, and I hope you'll continue to be in this with us for the long haul. Given Mayor Nutter's efforts to get Philadelphians connected to the internet, I like to say that he's putting a new spin on what it means to have connections at City Hall. And talking about spin, since I've known him for so long, I get to tell at least one story. But talking about spin, there is one story I want to tell you about your incoming president that you might not already know. And it's not that he can sing rap, although it's related to that topic. Mayor Nutter was actually one heck of a disc jockey at one time. In Philadelphia, he was known professionally as Master Mike. As you can imagine, if you can imagine this, he was going to school full-time at the Wharton School at the University of Pennsylvania and working nights at a disco called the Impulse. He did that all through school and through his first job at Xerox. He also had less glamorous work to do at the Impulse when he wasn't DJing. For example, occasionally he had to fill in for the bouncer. In an interview last year, Mayor Nutter looked back on that function and he remarked that, as you can see, and you saw this before as he was trying to shrink behind me, he's not the biggest guy in the world. But what he also told us was that that's where he honed his negotiating skills, that he's been able to use so effectively with City Council and others in Philadelphia. Those skills are among the many he's put to work for Philadelphia during his 20-plus years of service in city government. So as someone who admires and believes in the future of urban America, I'm absolutely delighted that my friend Mayor Nutter is also putting his skills to work for the U.S. Conference of Mayors. Congratulations, Michael. You've made Philadelphia proud, and we look forward to continuing to work with you throughout your term of service at the U.S. Conference of Mayors.
I'm going to try. David, thank you very, very much. And I want to thank David and Comcast and our good friend Ron Orlando again for a tremendous evening last night at Hard Rock Live. That was just a great, great time. Please recognize David and the Comcast folks and Ron. It's a great pleasure and honor to be able to speak today, and I have some thoughts and some remarks that I'd like to share with you. The first is that I want to thank one more time, and I'll continue to for a long time, Mayor Antonio Villaraigosa for his leadership. He's been an advocate for America's cities in Washington and internationally, and I want to thank him for his tremendous leadership as President of the U.S. Conference of Mayors. Let us recognize our friend one more time. In Los Angeles, he's been a champion of innovative efforts such as the half-cent transportation tax, which is strongly supported by voters. And during his presidency of our organization, he's been at the forefront of critical debates that will shape the future of our country. But what I like most about him is his passion, his commitment, his dedication. You never have to wonder what's on Antonio Villaraigosa's mind. He's going to tell you whether you want to hear about it or not. But he's also very caring. The work around immigration, and certainly the announcement just the other day by President Obama with regard to Dreamers, and all the other work that he has done as conference president and as the mayor of that great city. I've had the opportunity to see him in action. We were in Los Angeles last year, and he didn't know it at the time. I've subsequently shared with him that when we had some challenges last year in Philadelphia, I used some of the ideas from Saturday Night Lights, that program that we saw, which was just a great, great program in L.A., but a great leadership tool as demonstrated by the mayor. Give it up for him one more time. Let me also congratulate Mayor Scott Smith of Mesa, our friend. He's, of course, our new Vice President of the U.S. Conference of Mayors. I know that we can accomplish a lot together, and I'm looking forward to working with you, Scott, to tackle the issues that face our nation's cities. And while we're at it, let's congratulate our new second Vice President, Sacramento Mayor Kevin Johnson. Kevin, congratulations. This has been an exciting conference, and I have to just one more time, we need to thank our host, Mayor Buddy Dyer. What a great, great hospitality event that we have experienced here in Orlando. I know everyone has had a great time over the past couple of days, certainly whether it's SeaWorld or Hard Rock Live last night, the events, the volunteers that have been so kind and so wonderful. Can we give a round of applause to the volunteers who helped us with this conference? The mayor's been kind enough to also share some of the things that they did to make this conference successful. And at our leadership conference in Philadelphia next month, we'll be taking some of the logistical provisions that you made for this event to make sure that Philly is successful next month. Our CEO and Executive Director, Tom Cochran, and the staff at the U.S. Conference of Mayors, let me thank you for going out of your way to make not only a great conference, but to also make sure that Antonio and I and Scott, and now myself and Scott and Kevin will be able to do our jobs. Can we give it up for Tom and the staff here at USCM? Tom, you and the staff bring mayors together to help us accomplish great things. Thank you for your guidance and your enduring vision for the U.S. Conference and for our cities. This is a diverse organization. It's also the strength of this organization. And I want to make sure that we utilize our diversity for maximum impact and maximum service. That diversity is by party, it's by race, and it's by gender. And I particularly want to emphasize my personal commitment to raising the role and profile of our women mayors in the U.S. Conference. I have a little more to say about that in the future, but I wanted you to know that I'm paying attention. To the many sponsors, course, we've had Phillips and J.P. Morgan Chase up here, but we have a number of sponsors. The big room just a couple doors away, Siemens, and so many, many others. We should give them a big thank you for their continued support of the mission and vision of the U.S. Conference of Mayors. Let us thank our great sponsors. And we want to encourage more businesses to join with us and business groups, and join our business alliance and partner with the USCM to take on the many national challenges for mutual benefit. The many speakers that we've had, and we have had some great, great speakers. We've listened and learned over the past couple days. Your insights and your ideas will help us to better inform our constituents about policies when we get back home. And one of the great speakers is here. He happens to also be my congressman. Congressman Chaka Fattah is here with his wife Renee and their children. Please recognize U.S. Congressman Chaka Fattah. And all of you, the great mayors of the United States of America, took the time to attend this conference. You came to Orlando. You support this great organization. It's not easy to leave our cities for a day, let alone a few days. The city still needs to run. Whatever device you use is going off at all hours of the day and night. The issues and crises never stop, and decisions still need to be made. But the U.S. Conference of Mayors is a unique opportunity for us to learn from each other and to return home with new ideas, new connections, new relationships, new programs for our cities, which are leading the way for growth and innovation throughout our country. We come together to confront some of the most important issues facing America today: jobs, economic development, energy independence, innovation, and violence reduction. My personal commitment to you is that I want every trip, every phone call, every press conference, every conference call that we have, anything else that you participate in with USCM, I want it to have a value added. I want you to know that you're getting something out of it, that if anyone ever asked, you could tell them exactly what that was about, what the benefit is to you, and the question shouldn't be, should I go? The question should be, I can't afford not to go to a USCM event. Allow me one personal moment. Over the past couple of days, I've been thinking, how do we get to this day? And how did I arrive at this particular moment? I think the one word that comes to me is family, from a couple different perspectives. One, my personal family is here. My wife, Lisa, and our daughter, Olivia, came in yesterday, and we were at some of the events last night. They've been so strong. They've been so understanding. They've been such great partners and so supportive. And all of you in your families, these jobs take a lot of time. They take a lot of effort. The dinners that you miss, the events and activities at home, things while you're out saving the world, you also need to make sure that things are still going well at home. These are tough jobs. Most people at home don't necessarily know that. They don't believe it. They think this is some version of the West Wing on TV, and that somewhere in the course of an hour, things will somehow work themselves out and everyone will be happy, and you just go on to the next commercial. Well, it just doesn't happen that way. People get killed. Bad things happen. Our public employees get injured. Some die. Someone didn't get service. A recession takes place. Things go wrong. And the one person that people call, as David was mentioning, they're going to call the mayor. And you're going to take that call, and you're going to get up out of your bed, or you're going to change your entire schedule, or you're going to miss dinner, or you're not going to make a ball game, or you're not going to do this, or you're not going to do that, because we are so passionately committed to what it is that we're trying to get done. But it does take a toll, and it does have an impact, and every now and then we need to recognize our families and thank them. And we thank your families for allowing you to do what it is that you do. And so let's give it up for our families and thank them. And then, of course, there are our government families. As wonderful as all of us may think that we are from time to time, and we get to be on the radio, and we're on TV, and we get quoted in the newspaper, and we're on Twitter and Facebook, and we're doing all these great and wonderful things. One thing I like to say back home is that there's no way in the world I'd be able to do any of these things but for having a great staff. And I believe that most of us probably believe that individually we have the best staffs, in the United States of America. Every mayor wants to know that he or she has great and loyal people who are out there doing the job each and every day. Well, I'm fortunate to be able to say that, and I know you do back home as well. And so the person who's been with me the most on this particular mission is a guy who works very hard at home, but he's also become almost an institution here at the U.S. Conference in the very short period of time, at least for me, that we've been around. And that person is Tumar Alexander. He's been a trusted friend, a great advisor, gets along with everyone, and his whole sole purpose is trying to get some things done. And so we've been at this, attended my first conference in June of 2008, and we've been going at it ever since. And I appreciate all the help and support that you've given Tumar and the things that I've tried to get done. More oftentimes than not, your staffs and some of the mayors even have gotten to know him, and I think in some instances folks would actually rather talk to Tumar than talk to me, and that's all right. I've got some other folks from the government family here, and I just want to recognize them. Our Director of Communications and Strategic Partnerships, Desiree Peterkin-Bell. Our Director of Federal Relations, Terry Gillen. Our Chief Education Officer, Lori Shore, is here with us today. Lori, good seeing you. And one of our Deputy Managing Directors who's getting all that logistical information, Giselle Jones. I want to thank all of them. Great public servants here with us. A couple folks that work with us and try to make sure that we get some other things we need to do. They don't work on the city government payroll, but they work with us, Holly Kinzer and Aaron Cohen. I want to thank the whole family for that. And then there's the USCM family. I have been so fortunate. I've been mayor for 4.5 years. And from the moment I was first in touch with this organization, from the moment of the first meeting, I've been embraced, I've been mentored, I've been supported, I've been encouraged. And some of those folks are up here, and I need to talk about them. First and foremost, the action that you saw me take earlier Mayor Goodman, you understand. There would be no explanation that I could ever give for standing next to you when you were making your presentation, given the other folks who were with you. But I learned how to deal with that at my first meeting from Mayor Doug Palmer, who had to deal with that challenge, and certainly no disrespect intended. But Doug Palmer has been a friend of mine for a long period of time before I became mayor, and has helped shepherd me through this great organization. And then you have people like Manny Diaz. Manny, who became president the year that I first came in to the conference. Manny, thank you so much. Elizabeth Couts, who was our most recent president before Antonio, and kind of took me up under her wing. Antonio, as I talked about, and Scott Smith. Joe Riley, the Dean of the U.S. Conference of Mayors, been a good friend. Jerry Abramson helped me a great deal, and Don Pasquale. Don, thank you as well. I noticed, Don, that you got up to the stage here as Mayor Goodman and her friends had just arrived. That was a brilliant move on your part, yes. These mayors and many others have really had a personal impact on my work and on my service here, and you've shared that influence and nurtured, and it's been very helpful. I'm honored and humbled to be named the 70th president of the U.S. Conference of Mayors, and I'm confident that if we work together, and I know we will, that we can accomplish great things over the next year. Cities matter, mayors matter, and USCM matters. Mayors are leaders and doers. We get things done, and we're moving America's cities forward. That can be a jarring idea in today's America, where some of our national leaders can't seem to agree on anything. Mayors don't have the luxury of endless debate and gridlock. We act, we respond each and every day to the needs of our cities. We pick up the trash. We balance our budgets. We have police officers on patrol in our streets. We put out fires. We fix potholes, and we pick up trash. Mayors get the job done each and every day, and our constituents would and should accept no less. I don't know about you, but I only have to step outside City Hall for an instant tracking poll about how I'm doing that day. Philadelphians are certainly not shy about sharing their opinions, and I'm sure the same is probably true in your cities as well. But despite a sluggish economy and a devastating recession, America's cities have continued to grow, innovate, and inspire. America's metropolitan areas are responsible for nearly 90% of the nation's GDP and 85% of the jobs. Metropolitan areas are driving job growth, and there's one simple reason. The cities are where the talent is. When company executives are looking to relocate or expand, they increasingly ask themselves, where can they find the talent? The answer is America's talent incubators, our cities. Just a few weeks ago, I opened a new downtown Philadelphia gateway office for Bentley Technology Partners, headquartered out in the Philadelphia suburbs, who came to tell us that they were actually having trouble attracting young talent to move out of Philadelphia and into the suburbs to be at their firm. They needed a presence in Philadelphia. That very same day that I cut the ribbon on Bentley's new office in Center City, our economic development team received a call from another technology company, again, a company located in the suburbs, looking to do exactly the same thing for exactly the same reason. Cities are where the talent is. We have the universities and colleges and cutting-edge businesses that train the next generation and inspire new ideas. We are the place where young Americans and families want to live, work, and raise their families, and even have some fun. We attract imaginative and thoughtful entrepreneurs who are creating the concepts that will change the world. Cities are moving our country forward. It's the men and women in this room who have dedicated their lives to public service. It is America's mayors who are getting things done. Earlier this week, Bloomberg Philanthropies announced its Mayor's Challenge, a nationwide competition challenging mayors to submit bold, innovative ideas that can be replicated in other cities across the country. The Winning Cities program will receive $5 million for implementation, and 4 runners-up will receive $1 million each. I want to thank Mayor Bloomberg and Bloomberg Philanthropies for their confidence in the ingenuity of America's cities. Today, I have the honor of making another announcement for new opportunities for mayors all across the country. Mayor Bloomberg has asked me to make this announcement at this conference. Cities of Service, with funding from Bloomberg Philanthropies, is launching the Cities of Service Impact Volunteering Fund, a grant for cities that are leveraging the incredible power of service. Civic engagement is one of America's greatest strengths. Volunteers across the country are committed to cleaner, greener, more educated cities. They donate their time and their expertise to mentor young people, clean up lots, and provide workforce training. We need to tap into this extraordinary resource, and I know many of our cities are doing just that already. In Philadelphia, the Office of Civic Engagement and Volunteer Services has started programs such as our Graduation Coaches Campaign, which trains adults to serve as mentors to help young people graduate from high school and go on to college. So far, the city has trained 3,200 graduation coaches, including Lisa and I. Atlanta, under the leadership of Mayor Kasim Reed, has started the Love Your Block initiative. They're partnering with 27 community groups to complete citizen-led beautification projects. More than 400 volunteers have collected 17,000 pounds of litter, removed 1,500 square feet of graffiti, and revitalized neighborhoods. These are just 2 examples where cities can achieve what cities can achieve when they employ the profound power of service. I'd like to encourage each of you, large city, small city, or anything in between, to look at civic engagement actually as a municipal function, just as essential as police and fire and sanitation services. The Impact Volunteering Fund is a 2-year, $2 million grant fund that will be distributed to members of the Cities of Service Coalition that are committed to volunteering. Cities with locally funded chief service officers can apply for $50,000 or $100,000 grants to implement high-impact service initiatives. If your city does not have a chief service officer, you can still apply for a $25,000 grant to support a single service initiative, including a $5,000 initiative bonus if your city achieves the 1-year benchmarks. Mayor Bloomberg was the first mayor to implement a high-impact service fund and founded the Cities of Service Coalition. His funding has allowed many of us to hire chief service officers, and his continued support will fuel this work going forward. This funding is an opportunity to harness your most precious resource, your own folks, to achieve your vision for your city. 21st century governance requires that we employ every strategy, every opportunity to create jobs, build opportunity, and move our cities forward. We're working with nonprofit partners like Code for America, creating new ways to engage our constituents, or the Comcast Corporation providing low-cost internet access to low-income families through the Internet Essentials program. We're working in partnership with advocacy organizations such as the National League of Cities to address together those issues most critical to our metropolitan areas. We no longer have the luxury of relying on the old ways of doing things. We have less money and fewer people to provide services at a time when the demands are increasing for those very services that people want and need. And guess what? Unfortunately, I don't necessarily know that that's going to change anytime soon. I don't know that we're going back to pre-2007 levels anytime in the near term. This is the new normal in America. However, I am not deterred at all, and I don't think there's been a more invigorating or important time to lead a city in America. The times in which we govern force us to work harder, to be more creative, and to innovate. And it's happening in cities all across the United States. Mayor Rahm Emanuel has unveiled an ambitious, comprehensive Building a New Chicago plan, which will be one of the largest infrastructure investments in his city's history, and he's doing it without any help from Washington or Springfield. This $7 billion, three-year infrastructure program expects to create tens of thousands of jobs and will not include a tax increase. Now, that's innovation. Mayor Stephanie Rawlings Blake is working to make Baltimore a safer city by using new technologies that help her police department to respond to and learn from gun violence in high-crime areas more quickly and efficiently. Mayor Ashley Swearingen is creating jobs and revitalizing downtown Fresno by attracting new talent, new companies, and new sectors to her city. She's building their innovation economy by creating a vibrant, walkable downtown where people want to live and work. Mayor Chris Baldwidge of the city of Elizabeth, New Jersey, is launching a Go Green initiative, which will make the city more efficient, accessible, and sustainable for its residents and the next generation. Mayor Tom Menino has created the Office of New Urban Mechanics, which is the City of Boston's innovation incubator to create tools directly addressing the needs of residents and businesses. And Mayor Scott Smith, in response to a tight budget and the growing need for libraries in Mesa, opened an express library, which saved the city millions of dollars and still provided essential library services to the community. And Mayor Kevin Johnson is keeping us keenly focused on modernizing, reforming, and transforming education systems and getting mayors involved in the frontline battles to better educate our children. And Mayor Bloomberg recently proposed to outlaw large-serving soda sauce. This initiative could transform public health. I understand firsthand the influence that Big Soda has had on this debate, and I applaud the mayor for putting the health and well-being of New Yorkers first. Finally, in Philadelphia, we're investing in our city and providing essential services to our constituents in some new ways as well. For example, cities across the country are faced with the complex challenge of providing a safe and affordable water supply and adhering to federal clean water regulations. In Philly, we recently launched Green City Clean Waters, our 25-year, $2 billion plan to protect our watershed by remaking the city's stormwater infrastructure through green, sustainable solutions. This plan has led our city to signing an historic cooperation agreement with the EPA that could change the relationship between cities and the EPA in the future. Instead of ripping up our streets all across Philadelphia and installing large pipes and holding tanks, which would have been prohibitively expensive and not actually address the long-term problems, we're rethinking the way that we use our water resources. We're installing rain gardens, stormwater trenches, and green roofs throughout Philadelphia. Stormwater management, now that's a really kind of wonky subject. However, this plan makes Philadelphia greener, transforms our urban landscape, and improves the quality of life for our citizens. These changes will help us to attract new residents who want to live and work in a vibrant 21st century city, and companies will follow them to, again, access their talent. There are hundreds of innovative and creative ideas that these cities are bringing forward all across America, but it's because of you, America's mayors, getting things done that these innovations are possible, because it doesn't look like we'll be getting any big help anytime soon from anywhere else. And while we set goals for innovation and new agendas, there are some old issues, old troubles that continue to plague many American cities. Issues that will require us to challenge our old assumptions, speak some uncomfortable truths, and shun political correctness. One such issue is the scourge of violence, which is wiping out a generation of young African American men. Each year in the United States, thousands and thousands and thousands of people are killed on our respective city streets. But since we lose seemingly one person at a time, we somehow seem to forget how commonplace it is. Let me talk about the devastating impact that occurs in one segment of our community. In 2011, 75% of Philadelphia's homicide victims were African American males. That's 230 people. If 230 people were killed by tainted spinach in Philadelphia, the USDA would issue a national recall immediately. If 230 people were, God forbid, killed in a plane crash, there would be congressional hearings on air travel. If 230 people were killed in a fire, there would be an investigation and review of fire safety. However, 230 African American men killed in one city, and nothing but silence. Now, this is not just in Philadelphia. Many of the mayors in this room face the same epidemic of violence in their cities as well. If our country's response to domestic terrorism was on the scale of our response to international terrorism, we could overcome this devastating violence and health disparities and educational gaps in a generation. There must be a national conversation on the impact of this violence on our families, our communities, and our country. We know that violence breeds upon itself, and the longer we wait to act, and the more intractable these problems become. This is our problem. It's America's problem because we created it through disinvestment, indifference, and neglect. And it's in cities where America must confront this challenge. This isn't just a black problem. It affects us all. Dr. Martin Luther King wrote from his Birmingham jail cell, "We are all tied together in a single garment of destiny. Whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly." I want to thank Mayor Mitch Landrieu and the more than 20 mayors who have now signed up across the country for the Cities United initiative to tackle head-on black on black violence in our nation. And I also want to especially thank the U.S. Conference of Mayors, the National League of Cities, the Casey Family Programs, the Open Society Institute, and the Knight Foundation, and countless others for their commitment and their financial support to address this challenge. If we do not have the will to act, then who? If our efforts do not lead to confronting these obstacles, then what? And if not now, then when? Through Cities United, we're going to take this issue on, to raise awareness, look at the root causes, and ultimately to work with anyone who will work with us to come to the table with solutions, real solutions, to the scourge of violence across America. And although this conversation will be started and driven by cities, we must bring in more partners. Violence affects our country's economic competitiveness, our health, our educational attainment, incarceration rates, and so many aspects of society that it must be addressed nationally. We need to leverage the power of advocacy and partnership to push this to the forefront of the American conversation. And I and we need your help. This is our responsibility, our promise to our citizens, our hope to our cities. And so today, in June of 2012, we are looking toward the future of American cities and our nation. There are many challenges ahead, but I also see great potential and wonderful opportunity. We are currently in an election year, which means that there will be, unfortunately, possibly, some additional partisan bickering. In July, we're going to come together in Philadelphia during our annual leadership meeting to plan, and in November, we will have our moment. The chances right now that we need to seize between the election and the inauguration of our next president. This brief window of time, once the partisan atmosphere has hopefully cooled down a little bit, is when Washington could actually get some work done. As the U.S. Conference of Mayors, we need to be at the forefront of that work, ready to hit the ground when they're ready to do some work, advocating for what our cities need, letting Washington know that we mean business, and they cannot ignore 80% of America that we represent. Cities need to continue to create jobs and support small businesses and drive the economy. We cannot compete in a global economy if we're not training our workforce, and education is critical to our economic competitiveness today and tomorrow. As the U.S. continues to transform into a knowledge-driven economy, we need an educated workforce that can take these jobs. A high school dropout earns $1 million less over his or her lifetime than a college graduate. And I promise you, we know that that gap will only get bigger in the years to come. In Philadelphia, I've often said that education is our public safety strategy. It's our health strategy. It's our poverty reduction strategy. Education is economic development. It's central to everything we're working to accomplish. It's true in Philly, and it's true in every city across America. Congress and the White House must understand that educating our young people is how we build a strong America with cutting-edge industries whose products are in demand all over the world. Cities need support to grow our economies. The tagline, "Made in America," means quality everywhere. America is known for high-quality, specialized, advanced manufacturing. Consumers will seek out Made in America. It's one of our country's greatest assets. Congress needs to support the manufacturing sector, which is a crucial industry for cities across the nation because it creates good, family-sustaining jobs for America. Cities need Congress to pass a transportation bill that is long-term in nature. Stopgap funding measures and kicking the can down the road just won't work. Our country's transportation infrastructure was once the envy of the world. It needs to be again. Today, we confront crumbling bridges, slow railways, and inadequate street repair. We can create shovel-ready jobs today if we invest in our infrastructure. Congress needs to rally around the measures that have received broad bipartisan support in the past and pass a long-term transportation blueprint for America. When we move America's cities forward, we know that there are enthusiastic, dedicated mayors working toward a common goal. Mayors are getting the job done, but we're doing so in a globalized economy with new rules. We can't follow the old playbook anymore. Cities must work together in partnership to address the extraordinary challenges that we're facing. And they're not simple challenges with easy solutions. But then again, there's not a mayor in this room who thought that their job was going to be easy. We all know that you're in the wrong business if that's your goal. I'm confident that America's cities have a bright future ahead. And people are moving into cities, and they're moving into these centers of growth all across the country. Cities are where people want to live and work. Cities are where the new ideas are being created. Cities are the hubs of culture and art and networks. Cities are where the innovation is taking place. Cities are the future of America. When you come to the U.S. Conference of Mayors, I want you to see and experience that future and appreciate the incredible potential we have when we unite. There's a lot of work ahead, but this really is our chance. It's our opportunity. It's our moment. And the cities of America will be heard, and mayors will lead us into a bright future. Thank you.
We have a little video that we'd like to throw on you.
I think we're done. Thank you. See you in Philly next month. Enjoy Orlando.